Okay guys, so for today I am going to be doing a cook with me video. I'll give you guys a couple different recipes and you can just cook right along with me. Yeah, you can have this video going while you're cooking something or whatever, or if you just want some inspiration for different recipes to make, because I know sometimes it's really easy to get into a cooking rut and you feel like you don't have anything new to make or whatever. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and subscribe down below also if you have not already. But comment down below and let me know if you are planning on trying any of these recipes. Without further ado, let's just get into the video.
So I wanted all of these recipes to be really good for like the cold months, the cold days. Just good recipes that are really easy and inexpensive, but also super delicious. So this first recipe is a home-style potato chowder. I will have all of these recipes in the description box, by the way, just to give you a more accurate directions and all of that, just so then, yeah, this isn't going to be a complete like tutorial necessarily. But I am starting out with just chopping up some onions, and I have some bacon cooking in the oven as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some potatoes, and then you're just going to need to wash them and then peel them like you would normally for mashed potatoes. And then I will show you how to cut them here in a minute, because you cannot cut them like you would for mashed potatoes. You have to do it a little bit differently. So here I am cutting the potatoes, and you're going to want to do small, thin coin shapes, and then after you get them all just into thin little circles, you will need to cut them in half. If you do cut one a little bit thick, then cut it in quarters, because you don't want these to be huge chunks. You just kind of want slivers of the potato. Next, I am taking the bacon out of the oven, and you're gonna have to save the bacon grease, which can get kind of messy, but you're gonna need it for the flavor. So here I am taking the bacon strips, and I'm just kind of draining like whatever grease comes off into the pan, and then I am setting them on a paper towel, and then you can set the bacon aside and you don't need to do anything with that yet. Here I am, next you need to like take the foil and just pour all the bacon grease into the pan. I accidentally spilled some on the cookie sheet, so I'm pouring that into the saucepan as well. But you're gonna go ahead and cook some onions and some garlic in here next. And I will say a good tip for the garlic, just use minced garlic and water instead of cutting up garlic cloves. It's a lot quicker and a lot easier. And I do use a little bit more garlic than what they say, just because I like that extra flavor. So now that these are soft and they're browned a little bit, I'm adding these into the potatoes that are all sliced up into a big pot. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some chicken broth. And then we are going to go ahead and let this simmer for about 20 minutes with a cover on it. So make sure you put the lid on there. While that's simmering, I am going to go ahead and get this bacon cut up. I do use a lot more bacon than what they recommend. I did this recipe times 4, and then I did 2 whole packages of bacon, just because I like to put the bacon inside of the chowder instead of using it just on the top. So you can kind of make this recipe a little bit different however you like. And then I'm taking some breakfast sausage patties and putting them on a pan, just to serve on a hamburger bun, like on hamburger buns as a side. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some flour, some basil, and some milk, whisk it all together, and then I am going to go ahead and stir this into the potatoes now that they're done. And this kind of makes it a lot more like a chowder. It thickens it up, it adds that creaminess. Yeah, it's definitely really delicious. And then after I stir this in for a minute, I will go ahead and add the bacon in, just because, come on you guys, bacon is the best. Here is the finished result. It does take a little bit of time to do, just to get everything done for the chowder, but I would say you could make this in big batches and then you can freeze some of it. That way you kind of have it for later, and overall I think it's worth it. This next recipe is not homemade like the chowder is, but it is so delicious, and this is a donut recipe. So this is something that we have been making ever since I was little, ever since Kirsten was little. It's definitely a favorite. And basically you just get these little like pre-made biscuits. They're like 89 cents for 8 large ones. And then you go ahead and you take one of these little piping tubes for icing, and then you are going to go ahead and stick it in the middle, like so, press down, and then it looks like a donut. And then I am blowing those little middles out, and we are using those as donut holes. And those are always great, especially if you have like a toddler or a little kid around, because then they're not wasting an entire donut. But yeah, this is just a classic in our household. It's definitely a favorite. We normally only do this when it's cold outside, and it's not very healthy. It's not homemade, but it's just delicious nonetheless, so I figured I would share it with you guys. So I ended up getting our big black pot out just because I was so scared of getting burned. And I'm going ahead and using a spoon to lower these in. And I'm just using plain vegetable oil, and I do this on medium heat because you don't want it to get too hot, because then they'll cook too fast. They could get burned on the outside, be doughy on the inside. I honestly don't really have a time limit for how long you should do it. I don't know. I would say keep an eye on it. Probably 2 to 3 minutes on each side, maybe. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that. But it's more so by looks. And then here I am sprinkling, I'm going ahead and putting these in some cinnamon sugar, and it's literally just a mixture of cinnamon and sugar. You can do it according to your taste, but this is definitely one of our favorite toppings. And then yeah, you just pretty much swirl it around in there, and then there you go, you've got your cinnamon sugar donuts. Our other favorite is to make this homemade chocolate icing. You just use powdered sugar, milk, and cocoa powder, and then you can literally just dip it in and you've got chocolate donuts. So they're very easy, but so delicious. This is the finished result. I made 6 plates, and yeah, I think I went a little bit overboard, but I'm pretty excited. And we always like to leave a couple plain. It's like we've got a couple donut holes, and then these, by the way, these are not burnt. I would not keep them if they were burnt. They just got a little bit dark. But that is how everything ended up turning out. This last recipe is a mashed potato bowl, which is not my personal favorite, but literally everybody in our family loves it. So you're just gonna go ahead and peel potatoes and boil them like you would for regular mashed potatoes. Here I have some chicken, and I'm just doing some garlic, some pepper, some onion powder, and some salt, really basic, but just getting this chicken cooked up. You don't need much. You could literally use like 1 chicken breast for this dish, which is really nice. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get these potatoes drained. And then I like to always start my mashed potatoes out with butter, and then I am going ahead and mixing this. Next, I'm adding some sour cream because you can't go wrong with that. I had a lot of sour cream, to be honest. And then next I do the seasoning. So I do salt, pepper, garlic, and some salt, pepper, garlic salt, and onion powder. Then here, once the potatoes are to my liking, I spread them out in a pan with a rubber spatula, and I just try to get it as even as possible. Here I'm doing 1 pan. You could easily make this ahead and make multiple pans. Next I'm adding some corn on top. It does not have to be warm. And I am doing this on about 2/3 of the pan because there are a few people in our family who don't prefer corn. Here I'm just sprinkling the chicken on top and then just kind of spreading it around with my hands. And then the next step is to take a butter knife and really like stab little holes in the casserole just so there's room for the gravy. And then here I'm just sprinkling the gravy over it with a spoon. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pour the pan over it as well, just to really coat it evenly. And then of course, every casserole must be topped with cheese. Here I'm just using some Colby Jack, but you could really diversify this. You could do like a barbecue style. You could really change it up, but this is just kind of a basic mashed potato bowl. And everybody seems to really love it. So it's very simple, very easy. And then after you get it all assembled, you just put it in the oven at 350 degrees until the cheese is melted. And then you can literally take it out and it is ready for everybody to eat. Here is the finished result of what this mashed potato bowl looks like. And I hope I gave you guys some good inspiration if you're in a meal rut or if you were just looking for a few different ideas. Hopefully I gave you some helpful tips. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next time.